What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today you're going to join us for a journey attempting to get our Sur-ron to become the fastest Sur-ron in the world. Today we're attempting to break Jack Cecil's record of 102 miles per hour, and we're going to take you through the entire process of how we are attempting to do that. There is so much more than we ever realized that factors into these high-speed runs, and it is so much more difficult than I think most of you guys realize. A lot more difficult than just buying the most powerful components and putting them on your Sur-ron. So hit that subscribe button. We're going to dive into it and show you the entire process. As we jump in this video, I have to give a quick disclaimer. Everything you see in this video is done by professionals. All the high-speed runs are perfectly calculated, planned out, and we do not recommend that you go out and do this yourself. Let's get right into the top speed runs. To warm up for the day, we decided to do a first run on Reed's Talaria. Let me talk you through the build on this. We have EBMX X9000 version 1 controller, EBMX new Talaria race battery. This is a 72 volt 42 amp hour with a high power harness, breaker delete, rated to 16 kilowatts continuous power, 30 kilowatts peak. Paired that to the new Socin FW02 Talaria motor. This is running encoder sensor, paired perfectly with our X9000 controller and running well.
Okay, we're doing our first run. Alex is on my bike doing a test run. See how fast he can get, see how the road's looking. Lance has got the drone up in the air. He's on the phone with him. All right, here he comes.
We don't have video of our run, but Alex was able to run 85.5 miles per hour, GPS and draggy verified.
Welcome back. 85 miles an hour, new record on my bike.
Guys, that's probably the fastest the Talaria has ever gone. Ever. We're about to break 100.
GPS, did you show it? 85.4.
Wow.
That is awesome.
That's 9 miles an hour faster than I went a week ago without the race battery.
Look at the gear I'm wearing.
That we were super stoked on because previously in all of our testing on this bike, we'd only been able to do about 76 miles per hour. So, and that was with the same gearing. The only change we made to make this bike go faster was put Alex in a street bike helmet with no huge visor, little bit less drag worth of clothes, and the EBMX race battery that allowed us to pull more current and hold that current longer on a high-speed run. To achieve that speed on this Talaria, we are running the 17-inch Supermoto wheels and a 40-tooth rear sprocket, which is very small. So we are super stoked with 85 miles an hour, and we believe this might be the fastest Talaria in the world right now. A few people have said they've gone faster with other setups, but we haven't seen any proof. So if you guys have gone faster, you have some good GPS verified proof, drop in our comments. We would love to see it. But otherwise, this is about the most powerful Talaria setup you can get right now. Because our Talaria already went so much faster than we were expecting, we were feeling super hyped for how our Sur-ron would perform because it has even more power, higher RPM motor. This bike is running an EBMX X9000 controller as well, same as the Talaria, is running the Sur-ron version of the same race battery, so literally like the same cells, same everything, just a little bit different look to it. And it is running the EBMX Surron XLB60 motor, which is a really high kV, powerful motor. It has more in the tank than the Socin motor on the Talaria. This bike is also running 17-inch Warp 9 Supermoto wheels with a 40-tooth rear sprocket. This bike does have slightly different gearing than our Talaria, and we'll go more in depth on that later in the video. But now we're going to jump in and see how our first run on the Sur-ron went.
They'll just have a thumbs up out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, like for when you start, can you see me over there if I'm in my truck?
I think so.
I think I'll give you the thumbs up when you get past me.
You guys just saw our first Surron run. Before we get into the details, I have to give a shout out to our new E-moto parts store, tbelectricmoto.com. There is a link down in the description. There's also a discount code down there. So if you guys have an E-moto and you want lots of upgraded parts for it, you guys can check it out. We have tons of parts like you see on this bike, awesome brands, awesome products, and we would love to get you guys some upgrades on your bike. Now, to get back into this bike, Alex's first run was 93 miles an hour. We're pretty stoked with that because that's 8 miles an hour faster than we did on our Talaria. However, some things weren't quite right on that run that made Alex feel like he was done when he probably had some more speed in the tank. So he forgot to start our GPS cycling computer, so he had basically no reference of how fast he was going. It takes about a mile on all of these runs of full throttle to get into these numbers. Even running the most powerful Surron you can get, it takes a long time. Like, Alex is doing 90 miles an hour full throttle for a really long extended period of time that puts a ton of strain on the battery and the components on the bike. So because Alex couldn't see that he was still climbing in speed most likely, he stopped. We ended at 93 miles an hour. After that, we plugged the bike back in. That was a theme throughout the video. Anytime we did a run, we had our portable generator charging the bike. We definitely needed a full battery for each run to be able to achieve these speeds. At the same time, we overlooked all of our settings on the controller in the app to make sure everything was still dialed in and maxed out. If you guys want to see what those settings are, stay tuned for later in the video. We're going to be going over that. Now let's see what happens on round 2. You guys may have noticed during Alex's runs, he goes about 40 to 50 miles an hour, constantly gets the bike warmed up, and then he lets off of throttle to let the voltage sag back up on his battery before giving it full throttle all the way until he lets off.
What happened?
Well, I got a cutout at 96 miles per hour.
96.
96.
So close.
96? You got a cutout on the power? Yeah. Like you were sagging too far maybe or something?
Maybe. I don't know. It's like I was right when I was thinking I was gonna let off. Some power something.
You guys saw run number 2, we achieved 96 miles per hour. There was no setting changes between 93 mile per hour run and 96 mile per hour run. We just held that full throttle for longer. We did eventually get a cutout. We believe it has to do with the battery and how long we were holding full throttle, but we don't actually know for sure. Our voltage at 96 miles per hour was about 71.5 volts, which is still well above the voltage cutoff. So we don't exactly know what happened, but because the cutoff, we let off and we ended up with 96 miles per hour. To confirm again that this was our max speed that we were going to be able to achieve, we did another run actually going the opposite direction right after we topped off our battery, and we again achieved 96 miles per hour and got kind of the same cutout after holding full throttle for a long period of time. Even though we only achieved 96 miles per hour on this bike, we have some plans. There's a couple of things we're gonna tweak and change. We have some tricks up our sleeve, and we are coming for that 102 mile per hour record, so stay tuned for a second video coming later. I think we're gonna get it, you guys. We have some tricks. There's some stuff coming. But that doesn't end today's video though. We have another bike we're testing with a totally different setup, so that is right here. To make this video more interesting, we decided to add another bike that has the same motor and controller that Jack Cecil used to achieve his 102 mile per hour run. A Torp TC1000 controller, Torp TM25 motor. Now, one of the main differences is that Jack Cecil used settings from Torp that are higher than the average customer can use. He was able to turn up his field weakening, which is something that allows more top speed out of a setup. But what we wanted to do today was test what the average consumer can do with this motor and controller and compare it against our EBMX powered bike, again with settings maxed out that the consumer can use. So just to be clear, both bikes for the runs are using the exact settings that any consumer can use. There's no custom firmware, nothing is turned up higher than you could do yourself. Now, to make both runs as fair as possible, we decided to take out our EBMX race battery from the Surron, put it into this bike, so both bikes are running the same battery, again, fully charged. We also swapped over our Warp 9 17-inch Supermoto wheels and the same 40-tooth rear sprocket. Now, this Surron is geared slightly different than ours because this is running a belt and our bike is running a chain drive. We'll get into those details a little more later in the video, but for as close a sake as we could make it, all the variables are essentially the same. Same rider, same wheels, same battery, different controllers, although both fully maxed out. Same road, same day. Let's see how this bike did. On the first run on this, Alex achieved 90 miles per hour. He went to 90 pretty dang quick and he held right at 90 for over 10 seconds for a really long period of time before it just wouldn't go any faster. You can see the draggy banging between 89 and 90 miles per hour. So that's pretty impressive for this bike. There feels like there was something limiting us. We don't think it was gearing. We're gonna talk about that in just a second, but we think that's the difference between Jack Cecil getting different firmware to allow him to run higher field weakening. If we put this bike on a stand, the motor is not out geared, so the motor still has more RPM to spin up higher than 90 miles per hour. We correlated those RPM numbers and limits, and in our testing, this bike should be able to go faster, but there's something limiting it. And we think that is torque just limiting that field weakening max that Jack was able to raise. Now, we did one more run where Alex had the exact same result, again, 90 miles per hour. That's all we could get out of it. Now, the video's not quite over. We have some cool drag races to show you, but really quick, I wanna go over the gearing on these bikes just so you guys understand. Okay, if you guys don't understand gearing, I'm not gonna dive into it really deeply, but basically we have our EBMX bike here, our torque bike here, and our Talaria here. The lower the number of your final drive gear ratio, the better for top speed. Pretty much the larger the number, to a certain extent, is better for acceleration, but that's not what matters in today's video. So you guys can see our Talaria has the worst gearing at 7.62. The gearbox is geared right like this, 2.478. If you multiply that by your secondary drive, which is like your 13-tooth front sprocket, and the 40-tooth rear, you get this. If you times those together, that's how you get this number. So for the EBMX bike, we step up a little bit. We have a 14 times a 40-tooth, and our 219 chain drive has a really small ratio, so that ends up being 6.85. Then our torque setup has the best ratio for top speed, having the belt setup with the 14-tooth times the 40-tooth, which is the same as our EBMX, but the difference in chain drive versus belt actually made a pretty drastic difference to 6.33. So our torque bike was geared the best. So this is a couple of the changes we're gonna be implementing in our next video, among a few other things to get some more top speed. And we really hope to be able to break Jack Cecil's 102 miles per hour with these changes. If you guys wanna know more about gearing, there is a really good video produced by EBMX. We'll have a link to it down in the description. Makes it super easy to understand and for you guys to calculate it yourself. Now let's see some high-powered drag races between this torque bike and Reed's Talaria. I'm on the Talaria, Alex is on the Torp Surron. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! All right, that's it, I'm braking. Well, I hit 71. Okay, drag race number 2. Alex is on the torque bike. I'm on the Talaria. We'll go over what they have later on. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, he pulls on me. Dang, I still hit 75 on that run. So Alex is probably doing 80. That's crazy. Well guys, thanks for watching this video. We really appreciate your support on our road to 102 miles per hour. Jack Cecil, we are coming for you. This is not the end. We're gonna beat your record with our EBMX powered Sur-ron. Again, huge shout out to EBMX and Warp 9 Racing. EBMX got us all set up for this custom bike build, and it's awesome that it's able to achieve such a high speed already. Warp 9 rushed out these Supermoto wheels for us and all the rest of the parts to build this bike. Warp 9's the best in the business, as is EBMX. We're excited to continue to test this. And again, if you guys need any parts, check out our new E-moto parts store, link in the description, tbelectricmoto.com. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next video. See ya.